Yo, what is up? Thursday, July 21st. I love Thursdays for some reason. Today we're talking about Ford making big cuts to their staff, Cybertruck maybe a little early, Amazon suing fake reviewers, and a brand new podcast.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know.
Now, Amazon, it's not a brand new podcast from Amazon. It's actually
new
Does
users
Amazon have
in
a
a brand
podcast?
new podcast is what it sounded like.
Yeah,
That's not the way
no.
it is. It's not the way it is.
It isn't. No, Asotu is launching a brand new podcast today called Autocollabs. We've been talking about this a little bit. Autocollabs by Asotu is going to be hosted by the two handsome gentlemen you see on the screen and a handsomer gentleman named
Way handsome.
Michael Cirillo, host of the wildly popular Dealer Playbook podcast. Has been going on way longer than this one has been going on. And did you know, Kyle? It is listened to in 70 countries across this globe.
Are you
70? For real. No, he's an OG. So the three of us converged on Philly to record a bunch of initial episodes. We have dozens of interviews coming to you. So this morning show that we have, higher energy. The next one is like, there's a lot of laughs. Let me just put it that way.
We don't shy away from like the levity, but it's going to be kind of pulled back. Really, I think that the interesting thing is a lot of times like this is like pop, 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 we hit each other. And the interesting thing about even just the first episode is there's just a little bit more space to think and consider and have that like a conversation like you would see in another space. So
Yeah. So we're going to be launching that. Actually, episode 00 is launched. You can go to autocollabs.com or just search it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Overcast right now. It's going to be on a bunch of other platforms, but we move fast around here. So yesterday it was like, we're getting this live. We went to Philly, recorded some episodes. Episode 00 is a full-length episode where we talk about the spirit behind why we're doing what we're doing, talk a little bit about ourselves. We definitely make fun of each other a lot. And there was one point where I was trying not to cry because I think I lost it at one point. I just busted out laughing.
Oh man, look, yeah, and the thing is like you and I, we're decent at the jabs, but
Cirillo
the jabs
next
on
level.
Cirillo's end are just unbelievable. So yeah, you'll have a lot of fun listening to it.
You know what it's like when you play like basketball with someone that's better than you, all of a sudden you play better too.
Kind of comes up. Yeah.
So I think Cirillo being in the room, we were like, oh, it's going to be like that. Okay. Well, and so we hope you.
Here we go.
Oh yeah. So we hope you check out the Autocollabs podcast, and we have dozens and dozens of guests. So the format's going to be: we're going to have a little bit of an intro to the guests, the three of us together. Then we're going to do an interview, a long form interview from some of the best, brightest in the auto industry, outside the auto industry, dealers, industry partners, and we're going to go a level deeper. You might have heard a lot of these people before on different podcasts, but we're going to get a little bit different. We're going to get some different angles in there, and at the end, we're going to come back and give you some commentary on what we heard after a little bit of time thinking about it. So we think it'll be a different texture. We hope that it helps bridge the gap between dealers and industry partners and OEMs and consumers all in one show. So check out Autocollabs, the second podcast offering from Automotive State of the Union. Speaking of Asotu, we got Asotu Con coming up. Get your tickets. They're starting to ramp up. Excitement's starting to ramp up. Go to AsotuCon.com if you want to be there before you can't be there because the tickets are gone. So things are shaping up really nicely. We talk about that enough, but we just want to let you know tickets are on sale. Get them now because it's going to speed up and then you're not going to be able to get a ticket. And we were already having fire code conversations with the venue. So if that's any indicator,
warn you.
If that's any indicator, no, you can't. You can't. The whole vibe is going to be different than anything you've ever seen in an auto conference. Oh yeah, we wanted to talk about the schedule for just a second. Right?
Yeah,
we haven't talked about it enough.
Everybody keeps asking me when the last thing ends. So let's start you at the beginning and we'll get to the end. How about that?
It's a good place to start. First of all, the whole event takes place in less than 48 hours, right? So we're not talking about sabotaging a whole week of work, or if you're sending your people out or your managers are not going to be gone. Actually, it starts on Sunday evening. So you can fly in leisurely on Sunday afternoon. Sunday evening kicks off in a dealership. The flagship Subaru store in the country just grand opened, Sioka Subaru in Philadelphia. Greg Sioka is a good friend. Mr. C invites the whole industry to his place. It has this crazy like 5-story atrium at top for storage and Philly in the backdrop. We're going to do a charitable thing. It's going to be on September 11th. It's going to be an amazing welcome reception, multiple levels, multiple songs, maybe a special Asotu drink. We're going to do the thing. Monday, we're in place bright and early, full hot breakfast. All the meals are included with the Asotu tickets, by the way, right? We got to feed people. People. So, Kyle, tell the people what they can expect on Monday.
6 meals. So we're going to start Monday. We're going to actually start with this podcast live from the stage. You'll kind of get a peek into the way that we interact and engage. So we'll go through that. And then we've got main stage speakers in the morning. And then for the rest of the second half of the morning and the first half of the afternoon, you'll be in 3 different breakout stages, and you'll kind of have your pick across marketing and tech or operations or people process, sales engagement, culture. All of those types of dynamics will be in play. The majority of those breakout sessions, probably 95% of them, will actually be fireside chat style. So there's not going to be a ton of presentations or, here's my past thoughts. It's going to be really dynamic in the moment, and there won't be a lot of places to hide is kind of the idea in the way that those chats are going to happen. And we'll be using things like Slido and in presentation opportunity to kind of like feedback and ask questions as well. And then we'll end that day with a couple really dynamic keynotes from David Meltzer and Jim McKelvey, moving straight into a happy hour, which will be really fun, that then invites literally any person that works at a dealership in a 50-mile radius, or shoot, if you want to fly in, you can come to this.
That's a great point.
A thing, right? It will not cost a thing. You can vibe with the industry. From 6 to 10 that night, we're going to have silent disco and karaoke and DJs. And then we're going to end the night with 2 hours of probably one of the best party bands in the
Nashville. Well, we're importing them from Nashville.
Absolutely.
Right? We're importing the hottest party band from Nashville to do an outside open air concert. So if you didn't get it, we are throwing the biggest party for the broader industry I think the industry has ever seen. Our attendance is going to go probably from 600 just at our main conference event. And when we flip it to entertainment mode, it's probably going to be like 3,000 or 4,000. We're going to let everybody come. So we can jam with BDC reps and technicians and janitors and lot attendants, and everybody through can like encourage one another. But like Retail Automotive is a great place to be. Tuesday, we're back with the half of day only of the same content, main stages, side stages, conversations, food. So we're done by noon. So if we go back to the beginning, it starts at 5:30 Sunday night. We go Sunday night reception, all day Monday, Monday night entertainment, Tuesday until noon, and then it's Philly. So you can have a direct flight just about anywhere. And by the way, the venue is only like 6 minutes.
There's direct flights to and from San Diego. Like you can be there at 2:00 on Sunday from San Diego and leave at 2:00 on Tuesday and be back in San Diego by the time dinner rolls around out there. So,
for sure, especially with the time change.
With the time change, it's unbelievable. Anybody in the country can get there.
So we're trying to make it accessible because our goal is that you leave inspired and energized instead of the way that you typically leave a conference, which is exhausted and overwhelmed. And if you're a vendor, you're twice as exhausted and twice as overwhelmed.
Yes.
So we're trying to short circuit all of that. Let's talk about a little bit of news. We have 3 stories to talk about today. The first, I've seen it everywhere. I actually saw it as like the main article on LinkedIn News. Ford announced that they're going to be cutting 8,000 jobs from primarily the U.S. So they have 31,000 employees in the U.S. and 8,000. Do the math. That's a pretty big percentage, and they're cutting these mostly from salaried position. Jim Farley said the company is not being competitive on cost, and they're under earning on their vehicles. So that's 8,000 jobs. Ford said it's mainly going to come from Ford Blue. If you remember, right? He announced they're going to cut EV and ICE into 2 separate companies. Ford Blue is the traditional ICE vehicles, which they want to be the real cash generator for the company. So he said he was going to cut $3 billion by 2026, and Sucker ain't playing. Why is he doing that?
We pulled in a trigger pad just for that one, folks, this morning. But I mean, here's the thing: when you're looking at expenses and trying to like, we know what the largest expenses on anybody's P&L are, right? It is first and foremost, if you have a brick and mortar business, it's the place of business, right? Whatever your brick and mortar or your warehouses. So land and space. Next, employee expenses. Next, marketing. And so if you got to have the land and you don't need the employees, that's the next place that most people go to cut expenses to increase net profit. Just shocking that you're seeing 8,000 jobs. And I wonder how the work gets done, even with the sunsetting of ICE vehicles, with 8,000 jobs lost across a company. That kind of blows my mind.
Well, you think about, Farley as a leader is looking obviously a lot at efficiency. And I think post-pandemic, most companies are coming out of the pandemic, right? They really squeezed operations and made themselves a lot leaner and a lot more profitable. Now, a company like Ford didn't let people, right? Like they weren't letting as many people go as some of the other like dealers and stuff we know that had to like scale and stretch and,
Sure.
But without a doubt, getting lean and mean in this next phase, like of post-pandemic life, and just think of how much fat there must be to cut if 8,000 people can go away. And the fact that they've built processes and procedures that can keep that sucker, not only like, we're not talking about survival mode, right? Ford is like ambitious mode. Like, I don't even understand the reconciliation. I don't know the inner workings of their business, but a bold move and a pretty surprising announcement, I thought.
Yeah, I really don't have much context for how that works. Honestly,
me neither. Me neither. We need to get an org chart and start to dissect it. Right. Well, speaking of surprises,
stop.
Segue
time.
Earnings season is always fun because like we get surprises. People do
get surprises and promises. Those are the two things that you get, right?
Right. Hopefully less surprises, more promises, hopefully more results. Yesterday, Tesla had their quarterly investor call, and on a webcast, CEO Elon Musk said that the Cybertruck, that if you remember Q4 of last year, they said, you know what, it's not good. Maybe next year. We don't even know, right? It's been delayed since 2019 when it was announced, and delay. Well, yesterday they surprised everyone and said, you know what, we're thinking about mid next year. So we went from like maybe sometime next year to mid next year, which really heats up the intensity of the EV truck race, right? Ford's Lightning has come out and is going very strong and, is being received very well. I don't remember when the Silverado supposed to come out.
I think it's later this year, right?
I think it is this year. So the Cybertruck probably picking up pace a little bit to be released. We'll see what happens, but obviously one of the most polarizing trucks that, from a design standpoint, right? Looks like it's right out of Blade Runner. But that little announcement, along with a couple other things, shows that Tesla is actually pivoting and moving a little bit. So their profits rose, their revenue actually declined. And they made a move converting 75% of their Bitcoin holdings to cash. So they generated about $1 billion in just liquid capital by liquidating 75% of their Bitcoin holdings. So a couple interesting moves by Tesla with a surprise announcement. You can check out their presentation deck if you want. I've never looked at it before, but if you go to the investor page, it's like kind of like the projections and the playbook and all that stuff. And in Tesla fashion, it looks really nice. We linked it up in the show notes. I don't know if this is just you never know what's really going on, but under promise, over deliver comes to mind. Like you set the tone, like, oh my gosh, maybe not next year. And
I think it could be. I think it's also just pressure. I think it's pressure, right? From, like you said, the Lightning and the Silverado. It's funny because it's the first time that they've really felt pressure from any other manufacturer.
That's true.
So that's a new thing. Like they've been the one pressuring everyone else, and the truck race has been everyone else pressuring them. So I think you got a little bit of that. You could have a little bit of, under promise, over deliver.
Yeah, but I think
still just wonder, like,
right.
What's the usability of that Cybertruck thing? What, like, other than just looking really cool, why is that the way that we're going to have a truck look? You know what I mean?
Well,
that's what I think, Ford and Chevy just have it down. They've got like, this is the way a truck functions.
It'll be interesting. That's a really great point because the Cybertruck has that really unique hardcover that rolls over the bed.
Yeah.
Right. So and you can actually stand on it. So like, will people like that? Will they hate it? You know, obviously things that are familiar we tend to gravitate toward. When you look at the F-150 Lightning, it looks like an F-150.
Anyone that wants to act like they're playing Halo in real life is going to have a great time, right?
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna have fun for sure. You know, when the initial video came out, right, there was no other EV truck to compare it to. So remember, they hitched it up to the back of the F-150 and it just drugged that sucker around like a little kid drags around a baby doll. You know what I mean? It was dragging that F-150 around. So you're like, well, I can see a use for that. And we're like, it can tow this much, right? It can pull this much weight. But now that there are other trucks in the market, like, yeah, Tesla's not used to being behind. They're not, but they are. But they are. It could be a little pressure.
I like it. I think it's gonna be fun.
Oh, it's good. It's good for everyone.
Good old fashioned competition.
Speaking of things that are good for everyone,
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
Yep.
I think
there it is.
I think we all agree that accurate consumer reviews are good for everyone, right? They're good for consumers that want to buy the product. They're good for the companies that sell it. It holds them accountable. Well, Amazon literally filed 10,000 lawsuits yesterday against Facebook. What does it look like to deliver 10,000 lawsuits? And what does it take to process 10,000 lawsuits? Like, I don't even 10,000 anythings, right? Amazon had to prepare 10,000 lawsuits. Talk about
I hope someone had a nice find and replace, you know,
right. And the little mail merge going on, right? Because Betty was sitting behind the county clerk's office, like with her glasses and her little chain thing. And somebody was just like, I just imagine like a dozen Amazon interns, right? Just there's 1,000, there's 1,000. It was probably all digital. I don't know. With lawsuits, there's probably something that has to be signed. Right. And so 10,000 lawsuits filed against Facebook group administrators that run these Facebook groups that solicit people to leave fake reviews on Amazon. So Facebook group administrator, right? They're like, hey, you come here, I'll give you stuff. You go leave these reviews, right? I obviously get paid by companies that make these products to make fake reviews. And Amazon's like, nah, it's lawsuit time. So a quote from their vice president of selling partner services says, our teams stop millions of suspicious reviews before they're even seen by customers. And this lawsuit goes a step further to uncover perpetrators operating on social media. Proactive legal action targeting bad actors is one of the many ways we protect customers by holding bad actors accountable.
Isn't that wild? I've heard of this happening, when you get like a new product on market that comes from overseas or something like that, and all of a sudden it has 5,000 reviews, and then the active date on the product is like a month ago, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just nuts to think like a company like that has to put in these level of safeguards just to make sure that reviews are verified. And so that's where, as a consumer, you're always doing that, trust but verify on anything that has to do with reviews. And so, I love, DealerRater, a review platform in automotive, has a really interesting take on this. They force a couple things in their review platform. One is they have a very, very deep validation matrix to tie PII to retail data. So on the service and sales side, and then that's verified purchaser reviews, similar to how Amazon does a lot of that. Yep. But then also they force you to write a certain number of characters, which a lot of customers get annoyed at, and they'll write really funny things if you've ever had a DealerRater account. But the reason why they force it is because they know that if they push people to write a deeper story, then the relationship of that to the future customer is a lot stronger, and they probably get more actual verified reviews out of it. So, man, all of this to just make sure that everybody knows what's going on with a product or service that someone might be offering. So from that side, get your customers to leave the best reviews, and also as a consumer, just be careful as you're out there kind of reading through reviews, and understand that trust but verify is extremely important.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, look, consumers trust one another.
Yep.
Right. That's all there is to it. If you bought it, I want to know what you think, not what the company says about it. So obviously, honest reviews are important to everybody. I wonder if this raises more suspicion or quells any existing suspicion, because I think there are a lot of customers out there that don't even think about that.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, great purchase. Thanks. Like, oh, that's a great review. Right. And the two above it and the two below it could have been like, do not buy, so interesting how that works. But I mean, it's good to see Amazon being proactive. And look, we all need to be honest, and we need to do what we can to keep the marketplace honest, because it keeps the vendors and the suppliers and the businesses accountable to do better. And it keeps the consumer informed and, be able to make the good decisions, because I don't know if you noticed, but inflation's kind of a thing, and disposable income is a little bit on the decline. So couple good things coming out. So we hope that you have a couple good things going on today. Go out there, leave some reviews. Actually, do things that would make a customer want to leave a really great review. And go check out the new podcast, Autocollabs.com. We hope to see you there.
Get